There were many who thought it was a fluke. Bangladesh beating Pakistan in a test, that too in Pakistan. But as it turns out, it was no fluke. They've done it again. Bangladesh have just whitewashed Pakistan 2-0 in a historic test series win in Pakistan, in what is undoubtedly the greatest moment in Bangladesh's cricketing history and one of the lowest in Pakistan's. As we know, Pakistan as a team who are known to be mercurial. It's almost like their trademark. You see the highest of highs, the lowest of lows. But this to me somehow feels different, somehow feels more lasting. How do you look at it?
No, I think they've touched the lowest point in their cricket. I mean, I can't think of when they fared so poorly. And look, one must see it in perspective. So this is a test series against Bangladesh, which they've lost 0-2. There were only two test matches. The second one, when they had Bangladesh reeling at 20 odd for six, and one thought that at least this is a serious attempt to level the series. It didn't happen. But it's not just about this test series. Which should bother the Pakistan cricket establishment, the players, the fans, the selectors, and everybody else associated with the sport there. Look at the performances in the T20 World Cup, before that in the ODI World Cup, before, in the test series in between. And, we've talked about this in the past. At home, they've lost 0-3 to England not too long back. So, whether they're playing at home or playing away from home, Pakistan has been struggling in test matches. And even in white ball cricket, where you would expect that it's a more level playing field, they would come good, but it's just they seem to have fallen in very hard times. And you look at in this series, I mean, it boggles my mind that in the second test match they didn't have Shaheen Shah Afridi or Naseem Shah playing. So on a pitch where the Bangladesh pace bowlers were devastating in many ways. So I think that they've got a lot of things wrong. Pakistan, the team selection, there's too much. There seems to be too much of infighting, groupism. A lot of the former cricketers who somehow seem to be involved in Pakistan cricket, either selectors or mentors or whatever, or commentators, they seem to be settling scores amongst themselves, and it's led to a very sorry situation. But taking nothing away from Bangladesh, I think we must acknowledge that it's taken a long time coming. Bangladesh have also finished about what? Completed 25 years, a quarter of a century since they got the membership to the ICC, and their progress has also been extremely tardy. Very every once in a while there's a blip which shows an upward curve, but otherwise it's been quite disappointing, the progress, especially when playing away from home. But this series could well be the turning point for their cricket too.
Yeah. So you spoke about how Pakistan lost to England 3-0 in that test series at home. I guess the conversation then was more about baseball. And also, speaking of baseball and of that England team, we should also talk about Joe Root, who just had back-to-back centuries against Sri Lanka at home. And he's inching ever so close to Alistair Cook's tally of 13,000 some odd runs, which will make him the highest run getter for England in test. But I think he's only 96 runs behind. And the more interesting question is whether he can surpass Sachin Tendulkar, who is close to 16,000 runs, and that's around 3,000 odd runs left. But remember that Root still has age on his side. He's only 33, and given the amount of tests that England played, do you think that is a possibility?
I think it's possible. I mean, he just seems to have hit us. Well, is it the second wind or the third wind? One doesn't know. A couple of years back, it seemed like Joe Root couldn't put a foot right. He was just so short of runs, and then suddenly you see this amazing turnaround, which has come about. Maybe it has to do with giving up the captaincy. Perhaps that has played a big role. So that's something that needs to be examined more closely, more scrutinized with hard figures, and maybe conversing with those guys, with Ben Stokes and Brendan McCullum and Joe Root himself. But at this point in time, he just seems to have gone past the Fab Four, which was Virat Kohli, Steve Smith, Kane Williamson, and him. It's been a fascinating, race between these four, who are actually contemporaries at the under-19 level. So they've all been around for 12, 13, 14 years. And Joe Root has, as you mentioned, he's got age on his side. Some of the other contenders like Rohit Sharma, who's had a fantastic run ever since he became captain and ever since he started playing as an opener in Test cricket. So his career has blossomed. He was a late bloomer, but it's blossomed brilliantly. But somebody like Babar Azam, I mean, he's just taken a nosedive in the last 12, 15 months. Such a wonderful player to watch, and he had such high scoring potential, which he actualized for many years, but he seems to have suffered dramatically in the last 12, 15 months. So the race still seems to me to between the four that we've talked about, the Fab Four, for reaching Sachin Tendulkar's mark, 15,921 runs, 51 centuries. 51 centuries, I think, is extremely difficult for anybody to reach. The run tally might be, but the important question, the important thing now is, it's a twofold thing. One is when we talk about Bangladesh, remember Bangladesh is going to play 2 test matches against India, coming up in October, and they'll be like charged up. So, and they suddenly come back, maybe a little far-fetched. Both England and Bangladesh are back in the running for a place in the WTC final, where the front runners currently are India and Australia. So this two-test series against Bangladesh could be interesting for followers of Indian cricket, certainly. And I think Rohit Sharma and company need to be a little on their guard. And where, after that is the series against New Zealand and then against Australia. This is a big year for the likes of Virat Kohli, certainly, as also Kane Williamson and Steve Smith to come back into the running, in the sense, make sure that, or ensure that Joe Root doesn't run away with the lead amongst these four in the hunting down Sachin Tendulkar's score. 34 centuries is what Joe Root already has. He's equal Gavaskar. There's 3-4 of them in that 34 century mark thing. So yeah, I mean, look, this is getting to be quite an interesting race amongst these four.
Yeah. So you touched upon this right now, which is going to be my last question. Was that Bangladesh are now buoyed with the series, but have you seen enough talent and grit in that team to give India sort of a hard time at home, or was it just Pakistan being so bad?
Pakistan were bad. There's no doubt about it. The old cliche used to be that Pakistan is enigmatic and unpredictable. I think right now the cliche, it's not even a cliche, it's become a truism, is that Pakistan is predictably poor. I'm not using the word rotten. Poor will suffice, but they're predictably so. I mean, every match, whatever the format they play, they are struggling. Where Bangladesh is concerned, this could be like a big fillip, big boost to confidence. Playing India, the top-notch team in international cricket today, at least in the 5-day, and they're in red ball cricket. And so it's not going to be easy. And remember, they're playing it's in the subcontinent, but where India look a far more balanced team in batting depth, in batting heft, in bowling resources that are available. But Bangladesh seem to have benefited from the from the performance of guys like, it's not only Mushfiqur and Shakibul Hassan who've done all the good work in Pakistan. Liton Das, who looks very talented, but has been a lukewarm, tepid performer in Test cricket, has come good. This marvelous century in the second Test match, absolutely marvelous. They've had Taskin Ahmed bowling well. He can be quick. They've got another Naveed Rana.
Yeah.
He's bowling with 150 clicks, and they've got Mehdi Hassan, who's become a very good foil to Shakib, and then there's Hassan Mahmood. So they seem to have found a few young players, but obviously that depth of experience is not there, and the Indian team can be very intimidating. So they'll have to get past that. You can get overall playing against the likes of Rohit and Bumrah and Virat and Jadeja. I'm not sure, and Ashwin. I'm not sure if Shami will be fit or not. But the Indian team is star-studded and in red hot form actually in all formats.
So that series coming up in a couple of weeks, and we'll keep you posted. So yeah, that's it for this episode of Sports Room. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, Anirudh. We'll catch up.